I was born in South Korea, grew up in Seoul, eating Korean food, speaking Korean, and participating in every Korean holiday tradition. I lived in Korea until my family moved to Hawaii when I was 12 years old. I learned English with Hawaiian accents. I learned the names of fish in Hawaiian before I learned them in English. Turtles are honus, and sea urchins are ibanas. I also danced hula, where the basic instructions were given in Hawaiian. Imua means to move forward, and huli means to turn. Being blessed to live in Hawaii, I speak English with splash of Hawaiian accent and Korean. I make reference to Hawaiian mythologies and Korean background when I talk about home. My American friends often tell me that I'm so Asian because of the strong collectivist and traditional values I have. On the other hand, my parents think I'm too American. My mother once told me that I should not marry a Korean man because I'm too American and have too much of strong opinions to suit to be a Korean wife. I am not Korean enough, yet I was born in Korea and lived in Korea for 12 years of my life. I am not American enough, yet I lived in Hawaii for 9 years. I will not be who I am today without my island. I call Korea home and Hawaii home and my island. Yet I feel like a tourist every time I visit Korea, and I am still an outsider in Hawaii. Reken calls people like me the third culture kids. Definition of third culture kid is person who has spent a significant part of his or her developmental years outside their parents' culture. They build relationship to all cultures while not having full ownership in any. Although elements from each culture are assimilated into the life experience, the sense of belonging is in relationship to others of the same background. My parents were born and raised in Korea their entire life. My parents grew up around the same town, got married, and settled down within an hour's drive radius of where they were born. Hawaii was very different from my parents' home. I spent my entire teenage in Hawaii. My school taught me more about the rights of individuals rather than protecting the honor of family. I always put my family first, because that is the value from my family culture. Yet, I am more aware about individual rights than my parents. Third culture kids not only simply adapt to new culture, but learns to create their own. With the creation, third culture kids live in their own culture that is neither of one's parents or the new host country. The process of developing own culture can be explained with cultural fusion theory by Crouch and Kramer. The cultural fusion theory views the process of cultural adaptation as combining the home and new culture rather than unlearning of home culture to learn a new one. Cultural fusion theory assumes that every individual has a tendency to maintain their home culture, which for me was speaking Korean and staying close to my family. Cultural fusion theory says that all humans have desire to maintain their own culture and also have the drive and capacity to adapt to new environmental changes. When I first moved to Hawaii, learning English was the biggest challenge I had. Learning a new language is not only about learning new letters and sounds. Learning a language is about the symbols and signs of communication that develops from a culture. Words and expressions are a result of history and development of a group that we recognize as a country. My desire to take on my linguistic challenge drove me to learn English and even adapt to speak with an accent. I had the drive to speak the language of my new country and to take full part in the community. I was able to take active part and communicate better with the people, and my English improved. Crouch and Kramer assumed that cultural fusion with environment occurs through communication. Interacting and taking part in daily activity in new culture affects the speed and level of fusion. Speed and level of fusion with Hawaiian environment increased when I started dancing hula. I learned the native words and spoke with people using Hawaiian slangs. My level of fusion progressed beyond the simple idea of cultural artifacts. It exceeded to learning values and beliefs. Reken identifies the characteristics of third culture kids. She says that third culture kids have large world language acquisitions, ability to being a cultural bridge, ruthlessness, and sense of belonging is often in relationship to others of similar background, rather than shared race or ethnicity alone. I have a large worldview because I've seen and lived in a bigger world than most of the people. I learned English and maintained my Korean for my language acquisition. I function as cultural bridge because I do not have a place in on one culture. For me, I am a strong bridge between Korean and Hawaiian culture. For example, I often find myself explaining the attitudes of local Hawaiian people to my parents. Or I have to explain things before my friends meet my parents. I am a foreigner in every country, but I can find home anywhere in any part of the world because my sense of belonging are based on relationship. Race or ethnicity alone does not impact my perspective in building relationship because I am a foreigner in every country and to everyone. I find myself building a closer relationship with other third culture kids because of their similar background experience of being ruthless and creating their own culture. I am third culture kid living in a unique, colorful culture. Third culture kids like me grow up to be a multicultural person. Once you create your own culture, combining the cultures of multiple homes around the world, you cannot go back to being a monoculture. Regardless of how long you stay in one place, even if you were to return to country of your home culture. I will never be able to turn back into just being Korean or Hawaiian, even if I lived in one place for the rest of my life.